Hello, podcast listeners. This is your host with the most, and I'm going to talk to you about a couple things today along with my good buddy Tucker, including pants, what happens if you have an accident inside of those pants, and what it's like to be Peter MacNicol's pants. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World, Pantsless. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. JJ Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. JJ has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
Tucker, I spent a good portion of my week doing some cleaning around my house. I'm a big fan of doing a spring clean, but I'm even more a fan of doing kind of these late fall, early winter cleans because you're trapped inside the house, right? There's not a lot that you can do unless you're going to go outside and shovel the walk, or, you know, you can't be outside as much as you can during the spring and summer. So I found myself cleaning out some old drawers, some closets, and mainly a lot of clothes. I got rid of a fair amount of clothing that, you know, had holes in it, stuff that didn't fit anymore, things that I had grand plans of fitting into like 6 or 7 years ago that just hasn't panned out yet.
Yeah, I've got plenty of those. Right. Where it's like, I'll wear that when I'm skinny again. When?
It's kind of like that saying you have of like resting under, or like planting a tree under whose shade you'll never rest. Uh-huh. It's the same thing, like holding on to a pair of pants that never shall grace thy thighs.
Oh, it's a different concept. It's planting trees under the shade of which you will never rest. Yeah, but someone else would.
Right. And so
I see. So you're saying someone else is going to rest under the shade of your holy clothing.
My pants. Yeah, my pants. And so I bundled up everything.
Which technically have a bunch of holes in them already, because if they didn't, they wouldn't function.
No. Well, I mean, technically, planned holes, right?
I did not say something incorrect.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that I gave them to somebody, like I've given them to an organization that will redistribute them. And so someone else will be able to rest easy in pants that I curated for a long time in my closet. And now is the right time to provide those pants to an individual.
Yep. Come on down to JJ's Holes and we'll get you hooked up with something that he used to wear and won't anymore.
That's the thing. These are pants I've never actually worn. I've never been able to fit into these particular pants. So
you bought them already without them being able to fit.
I believe they were a gift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And part of the problem is that, so I wear a 38-32 because I wear my pants below my belly. So they're a little smaller, you know, like I'm not wearing them at what you would consider waist. It's, you know, pretty much.
I was going to say I wear a 38. How do we both wear a 38?
Yeah, we both can wear the same pants. It's and like, to see me completely naked, you would understand like, oh, he's shaped his body to specifically take pants at a certain point. And I'm tall, so I need like a longer leg in them, but I don't need a really long inseam because I'm wearing them so low. Like I need a shallower inseam, but a longer leg. These are the problems I have when it comes to pants. They are pants to me are the worst thing in the world. In fact, I was talking to previous guest Natalie Deutsch LaPlante on the phone yesterday, and we were having a discussion about pants. And in our discussion, I said, you know, I wear the pants that I wear, and I wear a belt that is like it's got elastic built into it, so it can really like hug into me. But because I lack hips and a butt, my pants are constantly falling down. And I was telling Natalie that I know that she has seen my butt crack and my, like, the front of my tummy hundreds of times.
Mhm.
I mean, hundreds of times. And it's not for lack of trying to keep those things hidden. It is just no one has made pants that are suitable for me. And so someone recommended I should get pregnancy pants, which are pants that have a built-in about 1.5 feet of elastic that goes up that would go over a pregnant belly. And so that actually keeps them up. So I did some Googling last night. And
please tell me you're going to start wearing maternity clothing.
I mean, I haven't hit the order button, but I have a cart full at this point. And it got me to think about just sort of those things where sometimes I fall down the rabbit hole and I just keep going and going and going, and there's no end in sight. And last night was one of those nights. Now, full disclosure, I was all on my lonesome last night. Jill was out of town, and so I had to amuse myself. And I did so by watching a bunch of movies that she wouldn't want to watch and searching for maternity clothes and finding out that I'm not the first male at least, to ever look for maternity clothes. There are entire websites of people who have Etsy shops where they've made this type of clothing specifically for men. And on top of that, there's also descriptions. There are entire Reddit threads with hundreds of comments describing how to make these pants, where you take essentially a pair of old sweatpants and you somehow, weld them onto a regular pair of jeans, and no one will know the difference.
Well, so how many pairs of pants do you think you would need to have access to be like, yep, I'm good with pants? Like, if in your closet, how many pants do you think total you're holding on to?
Does this count short?
That you rotate through on a weekly basis?
Oh, I mean, but does this include shorts?
Let's go just long pants for
okay.
Right now.
Long pants. I need 4 pairs.
You need 4 pairs.
I need 4 pairs. I need a pair of black. I need a pair of khaki. I need 2 pairs of jeans.
Okay. So what do you think it would cost to find an amazing tailor and go, hey, I want to drop some cash on pants that are made specifically for this guy, and these are the things I like? And you have that person straight up just go, we're making JJ pants today, and they're going to be built exactly to your specifications. And then you'll have multiple, maybe you go nuts and go, give me 8 of those instead of 4, right? Have you thought about just going that way? Like having a craftsperson who is really good at this help you make from scratch your pants.
Okay, so they're actually taking a swath of fabric and cutting the pants from that, or I'm taking pants and they are amending the pants to be
no, you do not have pants. There is no pants.
Okay.
And then you would say, person, I would like to pay you money to make pants. And then they're going to do it from scratch. So they're going to be taking raw materials and putting them together. So it's an investment. You're probably spending some money on it, but it's 4 pants that are perfect.
I'm guessing that each pair of pants would probably run $400 a top. Maybe as a kickoff. Now, here you want to know the issue with going to a tailor? Because I've been to tailors. In fact, my sister takes my brother-in-law's pants in. He is between a 30 and a 32 for length, but the extra inch of length.
He's a 31.
He's a 31, saying? But it's 32 is too much. 30.
They never put out anything in 31s.
No, which is ridiculous.
It's 28, sometimes 29, which is perfect for me. And then it's 30, and then it's 32.
So she takes his jeans to a tailor, and I think it's $10 a pair, but they will cuff the jean at the bottom. And I was like, that's genius. More people should be doing this on a regular basis. By the way, I want to give a shout out. I know of 3 tailors in Fargo that are amazing. On 25th Street, there's the Strauss, and they bought the they're the people who did all the tailoring for the Strauss company when it was open. And then they just gave them the name so they can continue operating. It's right next to a Subway too. So you can drop off your pants or your coat that needs new buttons put on. And then you go over and you get yourself a delicious sandwich. By the way, do you know in Ireland that the Irish government will not allow Subway to call their bread because of the sugar content in it. They have to call it cake.
I think I remember you saying that before.
Which is amazing.
Is that really, really true?
It's really true. It's 100% true. 100% Italian urban cheese cake.
When you go to a tailor to get your pants, I don't know, lifted or whatever.
Yeah, okay. We'll go with the term lifted.
Do they give you like a loaner pair of pants so that you don't,
you don't wear in the pants that you're hoping to have tailored?
It's not like a car where you drop off your car and then they're like, do you need a ride somewhere?
No.
It's not like that.
No, it's
like,
not.
Here, you can wear these sweats until we've got your pants lifted.
They hope that you have at least one other, like a backup pair of pants at some point. Now, you shouldn't drop both of those off at the same time. Like, wear one pair while one is in the shop. So here's the problem. I have had custom suits made and stuff, and I tell people wear my pants, and they go, "Oh no, you have to wear your pants like up by your navel. Like that's how these pants are meant to be worn." I said, "No, but I wear them down here. All of my belts are, built for right there. My shirt length, is built for right there." And they're like, "No." And so I remember getting a suit at a place called Halberstadt, and the guy just wouldn't allow me. He goes, "I can't sell you that because you're going to come back and you're going to be angry that your pants are so low and they don't match like the suit style. So we can't tailor them like that." And so I'm like, "Fine, do it the other way." Well, when they come up to my navel, first of all, I'm a tall guy, so they feel like I've got them around my neck practically when they're that high. And then I'm trying to put a belt around my stomach, and that's not where I put a belt normally, and it's just ridiculous. Now, I have thought about doing this. What?
I remember seeing, you see those photos of like men in World War II, and it's like, why are their belts so high?
Yes. Or
what is up with this?
If you look at Laurel and Hardy, like if you look at Hardy, like where he wears his pants, that's what they wanted me to wear my pants like. And I said, no. I am not a silent movie star hoping for a comeback.
Yeah, does it look like I'm fishing in a river right now? No.
Right. Now, this is the one thing I think I will do, because on one of my fat pants Reddits that I saw, someone suggested, you could just wear suspenders, and someone made a good point. And they said, listen, I'm so tall that to keep my pants where I want, the suspenders, like the clips will like essentially break or like pull off the fabric. And then I'm adjusting myself like before I go into a boardroom, and that looks weird.
Yeah. And I mean, and you're adding a piece of cloth, or you're adding a whole item, a piece of clothing, like versus why can't the pants just do what pants are supposed to do?
Now, someone said what you do is you go to a tailor and you have them sew buttons on the inside of your pants, and then you use suspenders that go over the buttons. And they said, and that way, if one pulls off, it's because you're wearing the wrong size suspenders, you giant monster of a person. You just ripped a button.
They're still there, though. The suspenders are still there.
I like suspenders. I'm not going to lie. I like them.
But do you like them every day?
No, yes, because I never wear just a t-shirt. I always have a secondary layer on, whether it's a camp style button up short sleeve shirt, or like right now I'm wearing a thin hoodie.
That is such a dodge of my question. I said, do you like them every day? Do you wear suspenders every day?
No, because I'm worried about them ripping out the fabric from the little clasps.
You don't love them every day. You wouldn't want to wear them every day. It's like wearing a bra for your butt.
Women have to wear bras every day, Tucker.
Yeah, well, you know what? That was what God wanted them to do.
Is it?
Okay. Yeah.
Is it really?
Clearly, he made them that way, right?
I mean,
he exists and he made them that way, right?
I don't know. I don't really know enough about like the evolution of us from a biblical sense to a scientific sense to say like anyone really wanted what we are. Like, I can't think that at one point there was a supreme being being like, you know what? This guy's going to look great with Cheeto dust on his fingers, falling asleep on a couch.
I'm pretty sure, according to Christianity, it's the women who are at fault for like the gross. We should put pants on.
Is it really?
So, I mean, they ate the apple, right? and then they gained knowledge and found out that you shouldn't be naked and that's gross, and that God was just a big pervert and wasn't telling them and wanted to look at them naked, but then they found out that's gross.
See, now I would think that it's the opposite. I would think it's the guys who really wanted to get pants on because they needed to shield the size of their penises. And like they want another way to be able to trick a female into like finding a courtship so that by the time the pants come off, it's too late.
Why would Adam care, though? Like, there was no other competition at that time. There was nothing to compare his dick to versus, like, maybe the rhinoceros or something.
Yeah, all the other animals have a giant penis compared to their body size.
Well, Eve has, I think, some real issues with expectations then. Especially, she's like, gross, put on these pants to hide how tiny your dick is compared to that chimpanzee over there.
He's constantly playing with himself.
It's just so big, massive. I don't know why, but in my Reddit feed lately, I'm getting a lot of photos of bats hanging upside down, exposing their genitals, and people going, whoa, that bat's dick is huge. And I'm like, why is this coming up in my feed on Reddit?
Okay,
I didn't search bat dicks.
So I've got two stories that I want to tell that really, really tie in well to the bat dick conversation. One is, I was listening to a podcast recently, and this woman talked about, she's like, "Oh yeah, I got a major boner for SME culture," and I thought, what am I missing? I don't know what that is, and so I started SME culture. So there's a group of women who are ultra attracted to men, pudgy men who dress like Smee from Peter Pan.
Do they know my dad?
That's what I thought of immediately, Tucker, because he used to dress like Smee.
Yeah, I mean, he still does. As long as if all of his superhero shirts are dirty, he'll probably dress like Shmee.
And and here's the thing. They are people who are like a lot of bisexuals. So they think that it might be a part of like queer culture. That
is it Smee or Shmee?
Smee, Smee.
Okay, because I know like in Phantom Menace, Anakin's mother is Shmee.
Right.
And I always thought that
she was named after.
That she was a wink and a nod to Dustin Hoffman's Hook with
Bob Hoskins.
He wanted to just give a nod to Bob Hoskins, and so he named Anakin's mother after a character that Bob Hoskins played. She was originally going to be Mario Skywalker, but then he decided that's a little too on the nose.
So let me tell you a story about a friend of mine who pooped his pants at Nickelodeon Universe down in the Mall of America.
Oh, I thought this was going to be boring until they heard the Nickelodeon Universe part.
Right.
Like another story of your friends pooping their pants, JJ?
Another, yeah. So I had a friend, and I mean, we're definitely not friends anymore. We stopped being friendly in high school, and we definitely are not friends anymore.
Like, are you enemies now?
No, I wouldn't consider us enemies. I just think like at this point, we're just pretty much strangers to each other, right? Like I haven't talked to this kid in 22 years.
Was there a falling out?
No, just different people went in different ways. Okay. And maybe this story has something to do with it. I don't quite know. So
was this the beginning of the split?
The beginning of the split. This is the beginning of the end times. So he invited me to go to the Twin Cities with him for like a day trip. And I'm like, that's awesome. And he's like, yeah, my dad's going to fly us because he's got a plane. And I'm like, that is even cooler. I love that. So the day of the journey comes, and they pick me up, and it's his sister, and his parents in this like kind of small car. So it was pretty cramped in the back. And my friend was kind of like he at no point did he ever think like I should offer JJ the window seat. I'm going to just have him sit in the middle. And I thought, big deal, right? All I got to do is ride to the airport. No. Mm-hmm. So I find out as we get on the interstate that I'm like, I lean over. I'm like, I thought we were going to take your dad's plane. And he goes, oh, no, there's not enough gas. So then I start thinking like, are you a liar? Are you fibbing to me about this? There's no gas left for the plane. There's no plane gas left. Okay. So we go down to the Twin Cities.
There's no gas.
Right. And now I'm like sitting in the middle hump on a seat, and it's cramped. His mom was kind enough to make everyone like a sandwich, but they were all egg salad sandwiches.
Ew.
Which had plenty of mayo and plenty of mustard. And so I try and politely decline. And then she turns around and she tells me how rude it is that she made this and I'm not even going to like attempt to try it. And,
but I ate already, ma'am. I'm so full right now.
And I want to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I was planning on drinking some farts. So I think I'm fine. So we finally get down to the cities. We get to the Mall of America, and his parents are like, okay, we'll meet back here in an hour and a half. And I was like, wait a minute. We're going to spend an hour and a half here, and that's it? And then we're going to drive back to Fargo? Are you kidding me? So I decide, you know what? I'm going to go to Nickelodeon Universe, and I'm going to ride some rides, and I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to go on the Pepsi Ripsaw. I'm going to go on the Paul Bunyan Bounty Paper Towels themed log flume. I'm going to have a good time.
Casa Bonita, yeah.
So my buddy says, oh, I have to go to Nordstrom's first because I have to buy a pair of pants. So he goes to Nordstrom's and he's spending forever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been half an hour. We only have an hour left to ride the rides. And so he picks a pair of dress pants, and then his parents had given him money to pick the pants he wanted, but they needed to be hemmed a little bit. And they said, don't worry. We do in-house alterations. We can have these ready for you in like 45 minutes. Great. Awesome. So we get the pants. I'm like, we'll grab the pants on the way out as we leave. So we go and we are on our first ride, and I don't know what he ate that day, but he maybe thought he had a toot, but he ended up pooping his pants.
Oh, no. And now these were not the new pants. They were still being tailored. They were being lifted still.
So what he did was he went to the bathroom, and after about 10 minutes, we hadn't come out. I went in. I'm like, hey, is everything all right? And he goes, no, I had an accident. Will you please go and get my new pants and bring them to me? So I was like, so you're going to hide in the bathroom while I go sit and wait for your pants. So I went and got his pants and brought them to him. And his parents, the first thing they said is like, oh, why are you wearing your new dress pants? Those are for such and such's wedding. And he goes, I just wanted to wear them. I like them. And they're like, oh, now he left his old poopy pants in the bathroom. Like he abandoned them in the bathroom.
Ouch. Yeah.
And
yeah, I probably would have too.
Right. So we get in the car and we're about to leave, and he starts to panic and he's like, we can't go. His house keys were still in his old pants.
Ugh.
So now he's abandoned a pair of poopy pants that he has to go find in the bathroom, hoping that they're still there, which I can't imagine a world where someone's like, oh, a discarded pair of pants in a bathroom at the world's largest mall. I should grab these.
Yeah.
So he goes back there and they're gone. And they're like, well, they're not gone. So now the whole family's involved. And so the dad has me go into the bathroom with him and my buddy to try and find it. And they're like, JJ, you look in the garbage can. And I remember, and I'm like in 6th grade, and I remember putting my foot down and be like, no, I am not digging in a garbage can.
You motherfuckers do that.
Like your son can find his own poopy pants that he left a pair of keys. I have no problem with him pooping his pants. It happens. That is 100% like, you know what? I don't feel anything about it. But the whole set of actions and activities that he took post pants pooping are unacceptable. Like I brought, like he could have put them in a bag. They gave me the new pants in a bag. It's not like they just threw them at me. I had a bag. He could have rolled them up, put them in the bag, twisted the bag shut, and then tied the bag, and then put it in the trunk on the way home.
Yep.
So he doesn't end up finding his keys, and so he's all sad. So on the way home, to make him feel better, they let him ride in the front seat. So now I'm sandwiched between his sister and his mom, who have the egg salad toots.
Ick.
And I'm also at this point starving because I haven't eaten anything all day long. And there wasn't really an opportune moment for me to be like, let me head over to Johnny Rockets real quick and grab myself a burger. So I'm starving on the way home. We have to stop for gas, ironically. And I went in and I grabbed myself a Snickers bar. And I remember coming back out to the car and his mom going, oh, no, you can't do that. And so-and-so's sister is allergic to peanuts. You have to throw that away. And I was like, well, I'll just eat it real quick. She's like, no, even just the dust from the peanuts could kill her. So she made me throw away a Snickers bar unopened into like the garbage can next to where you fill up with gas.
I'm really glad you're not friends with this people anymore. They suck.
I mean, it was honestly probably one of the most frustrating days of my life. And it has shaped me as far as who I am with other people on road trips.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I would never tell someone, no, we're not stopping for something. I would never tell someone that they can't. You know, for example, we've talked about your dad who's deep into SME culture. And on road trips, you talked about a specific one where he had taken a bunch of like teriyaki beef sticks and
it was just chunks of salami.
So just straight up chunks of salami. And he had it in
he took like a salami log and cut it into chunks.
And it was inside of a container, right? Like a sealed container. Like he would have
massive
to open the
Tupperware.
top.
Yeah, massive piece of Tupperware. We're talking, I mean, it's a lot. It was a lot. It was maybe 2 summer sausage logs cut up.
And every time he opened it, I bet it had a real stink to it.
It was so smelly you felt like you could see it. And every time, and there was, you'd hear the pop of the Tupperware. So you knew now, well, that means I'm about to get blasted in the face with a cloud of
nitrates,
of pureed biological product, and I like salami, like I like that stuff too, but I'm also try to be as cognizant of who else is in the car with me at the same time. But I love my dad, but he's like a wild animal. I mean, dad is very feral.
Sure. And at one point you just have to say enough is enough.
Yeah, but my dad is feral. There's just no question. If he could be naked all day long, every day, that's what he would be.
And there are plenty of people who like join him in that.
Oh, yeah. Like they could have a little community out on an island somewhere and that would be fine. But so to him, I mean, he's not trying to be rude or anything. He's just, like the animal part of him is going, eat thing. Listen to detective book on tape. Eat thing. Like it's the same thing.
That is amazing.
I will say that his snoring is now no longer a problem
because he's got a CPAP machine.
He's got his CPAP, and on this last trip, I roomed with him for a couple of days at my uncle's place. And I was worried that dad's snoring was going to keep me up because it has in the past. It's just, but I'm also someone who it's hard for me to fall asleep in general. It just always has been. I'm easy to keep awake, easy to wake up. And if I have anything going on in my life and I lay down to sleep, it's going to be 2 to 3 hours before I'm done, like anxiety circling it in my head and having like a circus brain. And then on top of that, if I am traveling, it's harder to sleep because I'm not in my regular environment. Plus, it's possible I won't have any privacy depending on the arrangements of who is sleeping where and when.
Sure.
So on these trips, I always make sure to bring some kind of a sleep aid, like a Z-Quil or melatonin or something to try and just knock me the fuck out at night so that I do fall asleep. And I was worried that would have to be the case here, but luckily his CPAP keeps him from snoring. It does not, however, keep him from farting. It does not attach to the butthole. It's only for your face holes. And so there's no CPAP for buttholes yet. And once we find that for him, then I think he'll be good.
Here's the problem, though. That's going to need a vent. Like, you know how like air conditioning units, like even the rolling ones, like need a vent to like get the like byproduct out.
Yeah, I would consider it's part like a silencer on a gun, where it's going to try to take as much of the noise away as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also going to go through probably multiple layers, like a car filter, to go through, so that most of the fecal matter or whatever that's coming out of you is being caught.
See, I imagine that there's
then I think at the very end there's a cartridge that you can change out with different scents. So if you're like, I want root beer, or I want bubble gum,
I think that's like version 3 or 4 of this device. I mean, that's not what you're going to get right away. I think right away is a special pair of underpants that are made out of plastic that you put on. And so that'll have some noise deafening type things.
That sounds uncomfortable.
And when you toot, there is a tube that comes just like a CPAP. There's a tube that comes out, and it is right around like the butt area. And you actually suction this over the top of like a toilet. So it's it's putting that smell to where it belongs in the toilet.
I see.
And then once every 2 hours, it flushes the toilet.
Got it. So, I mean, you could just straight up take shits all night long.
You could, because that's the problem. Is I think at one point the human body, once it gets used to the fact of like there are no consequences to what we are doing right now in this room, it'll see how far it can push the line. The human body always wants to push the line to the nth degree. I got in trouble this week in my day job. For something similar to what we're talking about.
About the pooping?
What do you know about pink eye in adults?
That if someone has pink eye, they're supposed to stay home.
Right, because it's highly contagious, right?
Right.
Do you know how you catch pink eye?
I don't.
So there's a movie that came out years ago that said if you fart onto a pillow, you can give someone pink eye. The movie was knocked up, which made, like $500 million. Like it was massive. And it started this old wives' tale about how you can get pink eye by farting on someone's pillow and then they sleep on it. And that's how it introduces this infection into your eye. Like, because
please tell me you've been accused of giving someone pink eye because you farted on them.
No. And that's the thing is I've tooted on several people in my life that definitely did not get pink eye. You included.
Yeah.
Did you ever get pink eye?
I not that I could connect it to that.
There you go. Okay, so we were talking with an infectious disease specialist about the fact that adult pink eye has been rampant this last couple of months. I've known almost a dozen people, adults, who've gotten pink eye, and they've like, I've never gotten pink eye in my adult life. What's happening right now where everyone is suddenly getting pink eye? And I said, I will find out. So we talked to this guy, and at the end, I'm like, I know this is going to be ridiculous, but there's a movie that says that you can get pink eye if you toot on someone's pillow and then they sleep on it. Is that true, or is it an old wives' tale? And this doctor who we've talked to about like COVID-related topics and like is a well-respected person in his industry is losing it. He's laughing so hard, right? And he goes, no, there is no scientific reason whatsoever that would suggest you get pink eye from sleeping on a pillow that's been farted on. And I had so many people who were mad at me who sent me nasty messages being like, you make us sound like idiots and like grow up. Oh, you're going to get pregnant by sitting on a toilet seat. And I was like, that's not my question is like, is there any legitimacy to this? Because when if there is something that enters the zeitgeist through something like a movie or a book or, even like songs, people will believe it. So for example, when I got stung by all those jellyfish, I thought the person I was with thought that the only thing that you can do is to have someone pee on it because it's such a neutral base that it washes away like the stinging compound. And we are on our way up to a hotel room for my friend to pee on me. to get this taken care of. When somebody says, "Oh, what happened?" I said, "Oh, I got stung by a jellyfish," and their first response is, "Don't pee on it. Go get in the hot tub because the chlorine will actually wash out the sting." Thank God. If we had been 10 seconds later, we wouldn't have bumped into this person in the lobby and they wouldn't have told us. And then my buddy would have peed on me.
And then you still would have been like in a lot of pain.
Right.
Plus
and it wouldn't have done anything. And the reason that we both thought you pee on it is there was like an MTV series at one point that's what someone did. They got stung by jellyfish and someone said, "Oh, you got to pee on it." And then that spread like wildfire. And that became the thing that everyone assumed you did if you got peed on. Or if you got jellyfished, you had to get peed on. And so I didn't think it was that off of me asking this question, but these people were, and like when I say people were mad at me, I mean like 3 people spoke out about it. But I also got a lot of feedback from other people who were like, I have always wondered the same thing. I saw that movie. I know what you're talking about. I thought that's how you got rid of it.
Yeah, that's making me think of a line from the new Canadian TV show Shoresy, where this guy is playing like a hockey player who also refs like high school hockey on the weekends, and he's just vicious with the kids, like the back and forth. And so it's a lot of like F-bombs and shit, like this is fucked up or that's fucked up from the kids. And at one point he goes, "You know what's fucked up is the amount of times your mom's faked a jellyfish sting just so I'd piss on her."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That line gets me. I've watched that clip like 5 or 6 times, and it gets me every single time.
So good.
What's your favorite kind of cheese?
Extra sharp cheddar.
Extra sharp cheddar.
The sharper, the better. So sharp it cuts you.
So sharp it cuts you. Because I was trying to think of like what I want to give everyone for Christmas, and I was like, I think I'm gonna invest a ton of money into cheeses.
Dude, that is such a good idea.
Right? And I'm going to give people cheese.
I'm kind of jealous I didn't think of it. That is fantastic.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. And you know what? If someone says, "Oh, no, thank you. I don't like cheese."
Well, you cut that person out of your life.
Well, I was like, you can give this to someone else. I don't care. Go for it. You just spread the cheese to whoever you want.
So where are you going to be sourcing your cheese from?
So that's the thing. There are a couple places I really, really, really want to get it from. Number one is Creative Kitchen, a local home good or like home and what am I trying to say here? It's a local cheese or it's a local kitchen gadgetry place, and they just added a cheese counter that is amazing. It's so good. I also think I'm going to go to Luna, and then I'm going to, of course, like match it up with some Hickory Farms.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
Don't we have like a cheese monger and don't we have someone who's like a cheese person?
We do Milkmaid, but I will say this. I doubt that she carries something like sharp cheddar. I think that she carries way more high-end cheeses.
Uh-huh.
And so to me, like, I'll get you some real good sharp cheddar.
Right. Nice.
You're gonna have a good time.
Sometimes I have to be careful when because I'm always getting cheese from the grocery store, and I'm always getting it from I'll go first and see what's on sale. So I'm like, okay, I've got my on sale cheese, and then I'm gonna get like a special cheese, right? Something that's a little more expensive or whatever. And oftentimes when I see extra sharp cheddar, I miss the word processed in there. And I think I'm getting one thing, and really what I'm getting is like American cheese, like government cheese or whatever. You know, it's not what I'm looking for. And so I always have to be really, really careful about, you know, is this extra sharp processed cheese or is this extra sharp cheese, extra sharp cheddar? I don't know why that's such a hard thing to follow for me, but it is. But I mean, just the way it hits on a cracker alone or paired up with some kind of a cured meat like a salami or a pepperoni. Oh, so good. I love making little sandwiches out of them too and stacking them. Like, you can't really make a Dagwood sandwich that's going to fit in your mouth, but you can do a miniature version of it with crackers, and it's awesome.
Do they still make or I guess it's called Blondie technically, right? But do they still make the Dagwood like cartoon? Like, is that still comic strip still in the papers on a regular basis?
I don't know for a fact, but I would assume that it still exists and that it's probably been under some sort of syndicated management group. So like they may be making new ones or they may not be, I guess. They could just be recycling through old ones and it would still be getting printed. But, recently I got 2 promotional copies of the forum at my house just in the mail. Like, hey, please maybe consider subscribing. This is what it looks like. And I'm like, oh, it's 2 pages of news and it's a bunch of ads. I'm not going to subscribe to this at all. But they would have had a shot if they had an excellent comics page.
Ooh.
I think if the Fargo Forum upped its comics game, they would get me as a physical subscriber.
Do you know how many times I got birthday gifts from friends and I was always jealous because their parents used the funny papers to be the wrapping?
Oh, I loved the funny papers as wrapping. It's my favorite wrapping.
It really is like it's because it's kind of like you want to read the outside of your gift before you put it on, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so good. So good, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious why like obviously you can get comics online, right? Like you can find a site that's got every Beetle Bailey ever made.
Sure.
But there's something about having that paper in your hand that's amazing. So if they put, I think that our local paper, the Forum, only prints 3 times a week. I think they print a Sunday, a Wednesday, and a Friday edition, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
And then the rest of their stuff is all online. But if each of those editions came with a full color, like 4-page, so if you consider like front, back, 4-page comic section, I would be more apt to get that. And then if it came out with specialty things like, hey, these are our favorite restaurants and these are our favorite dishes at the local restaurants that are featured only right now. I think that like to save newspapers, they need to be more magazine-like. Because people want their news now. And if you're not printing a paper every single day, you need to have something that's going to make someone keep it on their bedside table or on their desk for more than one news cycle. Right. So to me, it's like, you got to start having more content like that, but they never will. I mean, I'm in a dying industry. People are always talking about how radio is going to die, but radio does have the ability to be immediate. And that's the one thing we've got going. So if there's a fire, like when Castleton had the train derailment, people tuned into the radio to find out what was going on, right? Because we had people on site. They were covering it right then and in the moment. I don't think people are going, and then like entertainment wise, right? It's going along with you. I don't think that newspapers can provide that same level of immediacy that people need. Now, that being said, every time I've ever been in a publication, I frame it. I like you and I've got a framed one of our HPR spread, right?
Right.
And I cherish it and I like it. But unless you're going to start featuring every single person in the community so that they can buy one copy of that paper so that they can frame it, I don't think it's very worthwhile. It's just my 2 cents.
Right. I mean, there's just no way for print to bounce back in the same way it used to be in the digital age without trying to make that product so much more desirable. And there are things that make me desire like a physical product. Like, so, I have a bunch of comic books and they're ones that I think they were made at a time when that was the only way you could read these stories was through comic books, right? The absolutely only way. And so a lot of love was put into the making of those products because that was it. That was the whole world of it. Whereas now these things are sort of testing grounds for IP that may be developed into other media down the road where the, quote unquote, real money is. I shouldn't put quotes around that. That's true. That's where the real money is. And any comic book that gets released now, within a day or two of it being released on any digital platform, it's immediately pirated. There's just no way around it. You can't stop piracy at that level because there's no way to stop screenshots. And so it's a difficult market to make money in already. It was already difficult to make money in even leading up to the movies because you have all the printing costs and everything that go with it as well. And so now what you're seeing is you're just seeing they're still printing these comics, but I don't know. I just get the sense that they feel so much more disposable than the previous ones. And they often feel really, really rushed because they're putting out a lot, but of the really popular characters. So yeah, I don't know, like the forum, if printing, if making a print edition is just not profitable in the way that it used to be, and it would make sense that it isn't. I don't know what the numbers are like in the background, so I have no idea if it'd be viable. But what if they just went to once a week on Saturday or Friday? There is an end of the week printed edition that rounds up. The editorial staff sits down and goes, what from this week really could be in here with a deeper dive with XYZ, and ads are over here, and we separate things out a bit, and you get this delivered to your door. And I don't know, what's the price of a paper right now?
I couldn't tell. I mean, maybe $1.50, $2.
Okay. I would be willing to spend $5 a week if they made like a really attractive, well made print edition, even if it was just on the newspaper print that they're using now, right? Because I know that printing stuff is really expensive. But like, and if they made it as an object that I would want to potentially keep, like I would absolutely subscribe to that.
So it's funny you say that because I read an article today that was on the digital version of the forum. And the article was about the Miracle on 34th Street play that FMCT is doing right now, and how Paul Bougie is playing the Santa Claus, and he was Santa Claus and Elf last year, and the difference between these two Santas. And in it, they're talking about how last year he played Santa in the musical version of the movie Elf. And in the movie, you'll remember Lou Asner played a grumpy kind of Santa. And I wanted to be like, oh my God, his name is Ed Asner. His character on the Mary Tyler Moore Show was Lou Grant. So you couldn't even get the man's name correctly. And to me, I'm like, this is someone's job to write this. The fact checking on it was just abysmal. And I understand that people make mistakes, but this went to print, where you mistake one of the most notable actors of the modern generation, Ed Asner, and called him Lou Asner. That'd be like if people are like, oh, listen, okay, so Top Gun is really famous, right? And it's Tom F-15. The star of Top Gun is Tom F-15. No, it's Tom Cruise who flies an F-15. You moron.
No, they would think his character's name was Tom Cruise because it sounds like
Tom
a made-up name for a pilot character.
Yeah. I mean, it does. I've never really thought about that, but maybe that's why he originally got cast in it.
I just watched a clip on YouTube randomly offered to me, and I was like, why not? Let's watch it. I guess it's from the movie Battleship, when they made a
movie based on the game.
Yeah, and I guess they're fighting aliens.
Yep.
And there's a scene that this one showed where they're in their the big ship, the human ship, and they're going. And it's not Miles Teller, is it? No.
I don't remember. I know Rihanna's in it.
It's like I want to say it's a fairly big name now, but wasn't at the time. Anyways, and then the aliens are coming, and then they quickly drop anchor. And so that when the anchor hits, it forces their battleship to basically kind of Tokyo drift into like a side angle with the aliens.
Oh,
so
they're
lined up with all of the cannons on the battleship. And then they've got some old World War II guy, looking through his his binoculars, and he goes like, "Let's give them some lead, boys," and then they just start lighting the aliens up with cannonballs, basically. And I thought, God damn, someone thought of this, wrote it, it got storyboarded, someone approved the storyboard, and then they made it. I can't believe this happened.
Somebody was waiting for their drug dealer to get back, with their cocaine, and they're sitting in the drug dealer's living room watching the drug dealer's child. Just hold on one second, just watch my kid while I'm gone. And the kid was playing with some toys, and the kid made that move, and the guy was like, "Oh my God, I know how we're gonna end Battleship." Oh Lord, that's
because the aliens don't have this anchor technology.
Right? Yeah, they'd never. And also, you can't just drop anchor. That's the thing that bothers me about movies that are set on ships, is they're like, "Oh, let's drop anchor." You can't drop anchor in the middle of the ocean. You drop anchor when you're close to, like land, where there's, where there is a sea floor that your chain will reach. You don't have like a 6 mile long chain that can go into like the trench and grab it. Also, there's a potential that like if the anchor won't come up because you get it hooked on something, you need to be able to drop it. And you can't do that in the middle of the ocean, you idiots.
Yeah, I want to figure out who this was, because whoever the actor was, did
he at least sell it? We'll drop the anchor.
Oh, it was Taylor Kitsch. That's who it was. Taylor Kitsch. I guess Alexander Skarsgård is in this as well.
Oh boy.
Yeah, some real heavy hit. Liam Neeson is Admiral Shane.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's got to be the admiral. He's not going to be a first mate.
Okay, so now Peter MacNicol is a name that I would have never known the name, but I see the face and I'm like, oh, this dude's been in a million different things.
Yeah.
Do you know who Peter MacNicol is?
Yeah. Yeah, he was in Ghostbusters 2.
Was he?
Right? That's the one I'm thinking of? Peter MacNicol?
I don't know.
Peter MacNicol. Peter, I'm looking him up right now. MacNicol.
I mean, it looks like, he has been in a million things.
Yeah. Yeah. He's Janosch in
Ghostbusters 2. Yep,
Ghostbusters 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is a little baby in there? Hello, baby. And then like the scariest part of Ghostbusters 2 is when he turns away from Dana's apartment door and his eyes light up like flashlights. That was crazy. Tucker, I want to leave you on this thought right now. If you had to, like, if there's no ifs, ands, or buts, you've got to do this. If you had to move to another city right now, where would you move?
Lexington.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting choice. I mean, I figured because you're close to family, right?
Close to family, but I love Kentucky.
And you love Gold Star chili, and they're in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
What would it be for you?
Been thinking about this a lot lately because I have limited experience in West Coast things, right? So you'd think, oh, JJ, you'd love LA or Hollywood. I don't think that I would. And as much as I love Chicago, I don't think it'd be Chicago. I kind of want to be a big fish or I want to be a small fish in a big pond where like I could do something that would be interesting and important. I think that I would move to what would be a good example? Like an Omaha, right? Something like that. Or Atlanta. I always think that I'd like to live in Atlanta, except for Georgia's really messed up right now because of all the film production going on there. So maybe Atlanta. I don't know. Atlanta or Omaha, but not Florida. I know that there's not a single city in Florida that would get my attention. So one morning you wake up and you go, you know what? I've got one life to live. We should do this. And you turn to Jill and you say, Jill, I know this sounds crazy, but I think we should move to, and you name a place right now. Scottsdale.
What does she say?
No.
Then she just turns back to her phone.
Yeah, I think that I honestly think, Jill's got such a deep connection to her family up here. I don't think that she'd want to move. It would take something like me getting cast on SNL and going through at least a season and knowing I'd be like welcomed back the next season before she'd even contemplate the idea of moving to someplace like New York.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about the Twin Cities?
Nope.
All right.
Yeah. I just think, it's not enough. Now, if there's a world where like her parents move somewhere for some reason, maybe that would change it. I don't know. So, but if I'm going to move somewhere, I got to do it before I have a baby because those things are anchors in the middle of the ocean to stop aliens. Booyah! That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. You know what I should have done is I should have pooped my pants on the way back from that road trip with my friend. That would have taught them a lesson.